In the midst of Sisyphus, Camus compares the absurdity of man's life with the situation of Sisyphus, a figure of Greek mythology, who was condemned to repeat forever the same meaningless task of pushing a boulder up a mountain, only to see it roll down again. The absurdity is still apparent in the current world when we look at the repetitive work that streamline workers are doing. Those people are usually those who are lack of higher education, and this efficiency-driven society rarely give them a second chance. Not only for them, but every normal citizen's life follows this pattern: education, work, retirement, or leisure. Think about how many possibilities the school provides us when we first enter it, but at the end, we look at the rest of our life. For most people, we are just following one route to work, not fundamentally different from the stonebreaker, follows his father. Because when we enter university, we hardly know what's the subject we are dealing with. Our thoughts are guided by the institutions with certain existing values, norms of society. After all, it is a social function of the institution to teach people the order of the world. It molds us to a similar faith with similar values. Yes, institutions mold us. But if you look back, look at the time when we are young, look at these images. Children's game in 1560 and ING play in current time in China in a kindergarten. The fact is, across different countries, across different times, for small kids, play is always introduced to their education as the experience of the risk, joy, and deep engagement are considered as the deepest manifestation of learning, growth, and development. But when the kids grow up, they go to high schools, colleges, universities. And from my own experience, things get more serious. Play and leisure become a negative thing. Education becomes a tool to work. Almost the only way that children from not so rich family can compete with those more privileged. This is because education are closely related to work, plus the signaling function of institutions. The better school one competed in, the better income one can get paid. Those failed in this process, many ended up in factories, earning income barely can sustain oneself. If we refer to the definition of labor and work from Anna Arendt, the less education one receives, the more possible one might suffer from the labor, since labor is activity one do for the basic need to survive. That's why education are deemed so important in the current world. With the help of technology, distant learning, online training become more common and efficient during the pandemic. But this efficient-driven education attitude usually ends in a situation where we know how to teach people, but we forget what we teach for. Education becomes more like a commodity where people can choose and buy like in a supermarket. That's especially true in the realm of the internet, where online courses are sold. It is time to re-ask the old question Cedric Price asked half a century ago. Technology is the answer, but what was the question? It also points directly to our educational system. What is good education instead of how to be more efficient? Are we able to break the current system and bring us back to the time when education, work, and leisure are not separated through our lifetime, but exist together all the time through our lifelong journey? At that time, it can be imagined that our urban space, our cities as a whole, is an educational system, where buildings connect, platforms built, universities merged within the city, people drifting in this world, learning what they are interested in throughout their life, developing different aspects of themselves, not confined in a certain way of life. I think that's what we can learn from adolescence. That is, the teen spirit.